Shalom Aleichem and welcome to Online Smicha. You know, the month of Adar in Shulchan Aruch is mentioned as a month of Simcha and many halachas because of the Simcha and the special mazel that Yidden have in the month of Adar associated with Mazel Dagim, etc., etc. But there are dates that are also mentioned in Shulchan Aruch that even in Chodesh Adar, in the history of Klal Yisrael, there's things that we have to be aware of. Now, you look in Hilchas Tainis, Siman Tov Kuf Pei, you do find a list of dates throughout the calendar, the yearly calendar, where there was an original Megillas Tainis, where it says that throughout history, negative things have happened to Klal Yisrael, and because of that, at certain periods of time, the Chachamim even established days of fast on those auspicious days. One of the days, actually the last one on the list of Siman Tov Kuf Pei, If Aleph, is actually a date that happened in Chodesh Adar, and a date that in the Lubavitch calendar we are told to celebrate. Tes Adar is the date that the Frierdiker Rebbe arrived on the shores of New York and America and established Chabad in America, etc. But if you look in Shulchan Aruch, one of the dates that are mentioned that they used to fast is actually Tes Adar. What does the Shulchan Aruch say? 5 words. B'Tes Boi, the 9th day of Adar, some fast, because Nechleku Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. That's a date that Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel had this major machlokes. I'm using those words, major machlokes, because we commonly use, when you want to describe the most common names in Shas, we say Abaye v'Rava, Beis Shammai, Beis Hillel. There's always machlokes in between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. The more you learn, the more you enjoy the ways of thinking of Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel. But there's something different of the machlokes that took place between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel on Tes Adar, so much so that it became sometime in history a day of fast. But L'Poil, as we know, that all those dates that are mentioned in that Siman Shulchan Aruch, it wasn't accepted forever as a day of fast, but at least the lesson that we may learn from that day is very important. Where is this date mention of Beis Shammai Beis Hillel having this major machlokes? So it's actually a Mishnah Maseches Shabbos, and it's explained in the Gemara Masechta Shabbos and in Yerushalmi Masechta Shabbos. We all know that most of the places where Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel argue, the halacha is like Beis Hillel. And the common explanation is Beis Hillel had a bigger yeshiva and more Talmidim. More Talmidim is a majority, and we follow the majority rules, Achrei Rabim Lahates. That's the simple halachic view. In Kabbalah, in Avodah, we very much lean towards the ways of Beis Hillel right now, because Beis Hillel is more chesed, more kindness, more compassion, worrisome about helping the people. And Beis Shammai is the letter of the law, and we all know the story. The Gemara says that the guy comes to Beis Shammai, to Shammai HaZaken, and wants to convert. He says, this is it and that's it. No playing games, no cutting corners. Beis Hillel was compassionate, was concerned, he was willing to help, and that's symbolizing chesed. There is an exception to the rule. There is one specific time where the Gemara says 18 machlokesen between Beis Shammai and Beis Hillel were paskin like Beis Shammai. And there are svarim that go on to explain specifically that we find that this Gemara, this story, the number 18 is very symbolic, because there are 3 sets of 18. During that day, there were 18 discussions that everybody agreed, and everybody came to the same maskana. There were 18 discussions that there was still a machlokes, and the 18 discussions that Beis Shammai overruled because they had the majority. And the number 18 is very symbolic for that day. But the Mishnah speaks about these 18 gezeros, 18 rules The Mishnah and Shabbos. Elu min halachas she'amru. These are from the rules that were said in Aliyas Chananya ben Chizkiah ben Garain, in the second floor of the house of Chananya Chizkiah ben Garain, when they came to be Mevaker. Nimnu v'rabu. During that day there was a discussion. Many Talmidei Chachamim were there, and the discussion came up, and they counted to see who holds like Beis Shammai. And at that day, Beis Shammai had more people leaning towards his opinion. And that day, Shmoina Asar Dvarim Garzru Baybayim. 18 things were established to follow the rule of Beis Shammai during that day. So what's so bad? What is so bad? I mean, it seems to be there was a nice little discussion, and this time Beis Shammai had more people leaning towards his opinion. However, when you read the Gemara later on, Daf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph, it tells us what was bad. It was ruling by an iron fist. The Gemara says that while during that discussion, Noatzu Cherev Bebeis HaMedrash, the people of Shammai stuck a sword into the ground, and they said, Amru, Hanichnas, whoever is in, Yikonesh, should stay in. HaYotzei, whoever is out, Al Yotzei. There's no in and out. You stay put where you are. V'oisei hayom, that day, Haya Hillel, Kafuf v'yoshev lifnei Shammai. Hillel, the great giant Hillel, was sitting in front of Shammai, ke'echad min hatalmidim, just like a regular student. And the Gemara says, it wasn't an easy discussion. Hayakasha li Yisrael, ki yom shenase b'ya egel. That day for the Jewish history was as bad as the day Rahman al-Atlan, the Yidden did the sin of the egel, the golden calf. So it wasn't just a discussion. It wasn't just tolerance towards somebody else. Even though there was Shammai ended up having more people understanding his view, but it was action by force. So Chazal tell us to force people to listen to your side is, even though Dinei Torah, and at the end you have Roiv, and the Torah says Achrei Rabim Lahates. That's an act. That's Kasher Yisrael Kiyom Shanasa by Egel. And originally, in earlier times, it was a fast day. Hopefully we learn our lesson and we learn to get along, especially what Hillel tells us in Pirkei Avos, to be Oyev Shalom, V'Reidav Shalom, and Mekarvim L'Torah.